Oh, don't mind me. I was just checking my Facebook. Have you ever thought about how much time you spend on a phone daily? Whether it be just checking the time or on social media sites, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever you may think of. A lot of people today, whether they be teens, young adults, or fully grown adults, they have an issue with this a cell phone that connects us to the internet, connects us to these social media websites. So if you're going out with your friends, family, and most of them are on their phones, right? They have to check that latest status update by Joe Blow. Well, this is seeming to be causing an issue. And in my personal life, I've seen a lot of people be on the cell phones when I'm just trying to have a good conversation with them. So I took it upon myself to do some research on what the impacts of social media actually have on the human body. And most of them turned out to be negative. The negatives do outweigh the positives. Yes, social media can connect people from across the world, but at the same time, it's taking what we know as communication away from the youth and the next generation. Social media causes a person's mental health to be affected. It plays a negative impact on society, and we have a hard time getting out of that trend because we are addicted. Social media actually causes depression. As we spend more time on our cell phones, it's less time that we have face to face actually having contact and interaction with other human beings. Because online, we can be whoever we want, right? We can, but also a lot of the online profiles that you see are putting out fake information and making their lives seem a lot better than they actually are. Sometimes seeing somebody's selfie posted online actually triggers an effect on our human body in our minds, making sadness come through. It actually makes us compare ourselves to others as well. Seeing the brand new post that Janessa put up online, and then looking at your own selfies and seeing that you might not rate exactly the same as she did, it kind of puts us into a negative outlook on our own self. Social media also causes loneliness. Because, yes, we are online, we can talk to people by the click of a button, but at the same time, we're still sitting in our apartments, in our rooms, alone. We don't have anybody there communicating with us in front of our face. Depression comes, and so does loneliness. They go hand in hand. Comparing each other is one way that this social media has formed us to be depressed. We rather get tied up online and on the online world rather than what's going on right in front of us. Instead of getting together with friends and going out and have a conversation, we'll just message them online and think that's good enough, right? Wrong. As you can see, social media does play a negative impact on ourselves and on society because even though we are connected, we're feeling more alone than ever. The more time we spend on social media, the more addicted we are, according to statistics. Because we falsified that the idea of social media can make us have more friends, or the more friends that we have online uh, compares us to other people and how we view ourselves. Because if we have more friends, then we consider ourselves more popular, right? Well, again, that's wrong. Because social media is causing addiction, we have a hard time to resist the cell phone, resist the Facebook feed, Instagram, whatever it may be. Studies show that actually social media is harder to put down than drugs or alcohol. which is honestly pretty crazy to me. Because we spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes each day looking online at our phones, doesn't this take away from the people that you could be in contact with? In those 2.5 hours, roughly, we can have good conversations with people around us and get to know the person sitting next to you right in class. But instead, we're all hunched over with our phones in our hands, staring down at a screen rather than talking to the person right next to us. Because we compare ourselves to others online, we have a hard time feeling adequate in our own bodies. We compare each other, and really, we set ourselves up for failure because we are not having our own personal thoughts and our own personal opinions shine through in ourselves. A study by Penn State suggested that viewing other people's selfies actually lowers our own self-esteem. So the more time we spend online looking at other people's feed, the less self-esteem we have, or the more negative the self-esteem actually. Social media does play an effect on our self-esteem and on our lives. Because people that are 18 to 34, according to that study, when comparing ourselves to others, it makes us feel inadequate and not good enough for our society that's around us. Now, have you ever thought about how social media affects your relationship with your significant other, with a friend, whoever it may be? I certainly have. Because we are spending so much time on the social media and not enough time conversing with our loved ones right around us, we have a hard time actually talking and communicating with one another. People actually see their significant other online, and some dude likes her post, right? A lot of guys actually feel that they aren't good enough and that our significant others actually want somebody else. When in most cases, that's not true at all. But because we look at the phone and see each other on social media, we have a hard time trusting that our significant other is actually true to us. A study by the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships, there were 34 pairs of strangers, and each had a 10-minute conversation with each other. They were just going to see whether or not having a phone in sight actually made the responses to those conversations more negative or more positive. So half of the people that had the phones in front of them actually turned out to have less positive feelings and conversations than the people that did not have the cell phones in front of them, which to me actually tells a lot, because just having the phone out in front of you affects our communication skills. Because we're on our phones, it doesn't only interfere with friendships, relationships, but it also interferes with our family. Because your granddad, for example, wouldn't be on his Facebook checking his Instagram feed every 20 minutes. He would rather be in the same room with you having a conversation. So, because social media affects us so greatly in our personal lives, communicating, and as a society, we have a hard time letting go of the phone. So, it's actually up to you. Do you want to start having real conversations, to have real friends around, not just the 553 Facebook friends that you have? Because the more in-person time that we get with these people, the more we can actually trust and the greater the relationship can become. So it's up to us now. We have to learn how to set down the phone and learn how to converse again. It's up to you. Are you able to let go of the addiction?